Another big thing I want to talk about. It's an update. It's just a little bit. I don't get too deep into this, but I want to talk about some more Jonathan Majors stuff before we get into some fun stuff. We got to talk a little bit more serious stuff because an update came, and we talked about this the other day. And so now they've released some text messages. So he released text messages, or I say his lawyer released text messages from his girlfriend, who was the one that apparently or allegedly got beat up. So she released this whole text chain, and then they said the first thing that the police arrived with the paramedics. This is more updates. And as standard procedure, they arrested him, Mr. Majors, due to New York PD protocol, requesting an arrest because of the circumstances, because she had marks. She had been beat up, So he was held for 7 to 9 hours, and he was released. So that all that stuff is what we heard a little bit about, but they just said it was protocol. And so the thing is, though, she released these text messages, and that's why he's saying this is like the reason why everything's fine, and we should just believe this for what it is. We talked about this in the show about, DV victims sometimes will say things and stuff just because, but yeah, it's stuff for everybody to think. So she said, I'm going to read a little bit what she said, just so everybody can hear it. So she said, "Please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol and when they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. I'm so angry that they did this, and I'm sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of the hospital. Just call me when you're out. I love you." So, the one thing I would say, though, too, is just like, whatever. So then she goes more into it and then said, they just called again to check on me. And I reiterated how this was not an attack and that they did not have my blessing on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation, and I said, point blank, this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She ensured this on me. I know you have the best team and there's nothing to worry about. I just want to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. I also said to tell the judge to know that the origin of the call was to do with me collapsing and passing out, and you're worrying as my partner due to our communication prior. Out of care. She promised all will be relayed. So these are text messages again, released by his team, so you take it as it is. I know people online are saying, like, some people, it's very split. People are like, oh yeah, she's okay. Other people are like reading it being like, it's my fault because I tried to grab your phone. And it's like, well, what's your fault then? You know what I mean? So stuff like that, it's like, but you still had you were still beaten up.
So if I grab your phone, you can beat me up. Is that what the thing is? Like, is that what she's saying? Because that's kind of what it sounds like.
These text messages make me physically ill. Like, if anything, this makes me feel like he's more guilty than I did before. Because anyone who's known a victim or been a victim can read this and know what she's really saying under the words and know where she's coming from and how she's feeling. And, like, it just... I can't explain how sick these text messages make me feel.
It sounds like something about the phrasing. Is that it? Because it absolutely strikes me that it could be like in a court. Perhaps this is entirely exculpatory. I can see him maybe, okay, this gets swept under the rug. Marvel gets to keep going on, whatever. But in terms of, could someone who is a victim of domestic abuse situation have written those exact words? 100%, and it would read a totally natural and normal way for someone to react who's used to putting that blame on themselves.
Of course, 100%.
Going on.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And she also says, first she says, that it was my fault because I tried to grab your phone. So it's cool if you beat me up because I tried to grab your phone. But then she says, like, in the next test, that it was due to me passing out. So, like, that's a contradiction right there. Like, first you said it's my fault because I tried to grab your phone, and then you said no, it was due to me passing out, and you as my
from
partner. What? Yeah, I mean, probably
passing
strangulation that she's pretending didn't happen. Like,
exactly.
The whole thing is, it's like red flag city, and for the lawyer to post this shit or publicize it or print it or whatever the fuck.
It's being publicized, exactly.
I mean,
yeah. It's like you're letting the audience, like you're putting out for the public, like, here, now you decide, like they're having us have this conversation right now. If you didn't put it out there, we would not be having this conversation. It's like they want to try to get people to believe in him,
They want you to just read the words and not the subtext.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, anyone with a brain is going to read the subtext.
Right.
And also, and that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that it's not going to go lost on people because, someone who's a fan of his or whatever, they'll be like, oh, great, everything's fine. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to see the subtext as well. But one more point is that she also texted him that first bit and then I love you. And then that second bit, because he's obviously not responding to her and icing her out. So she is going to become more apologetic in the text and more, please,
I didn't think about that.
Please don't be mad at me. I love you. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get beat up by you. And I really want to fix this because I'm used to getting beaten up by you. And I love you. Like, it's like not like when you're in a situation like that, you don't see, like, you have to be outside of the situation to see what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard as a person who is being abused regularly, to be able to recognize that it is abuse. And especially if the good times are really, really good, you're like, oh, well, so he hit me in the mouth this one time. Like, it's totally fine. But we also had, 6 amazing things that we did in between then, or the sex is amazing, or, he bought me flowers and a diamond tennis bracelet or whatever.
He said he was sorry. He said he didn't mean it.
He didn't mean it.
It was an accident.
And it's totally fine.
I love when he says, I'm King the Conqueror.
It happens all the time.
You don't accidentally strangle somebody. Like,
the next text is going to be more, and the next text is going to be more because he's not responding to her. Like,
well, there might be even more texts they're not going to show.
I'm just 100% with you, Rachel. Like, the subtext, and Mike too. Everyone, like, the subtext is 100% damning, and to me, this doesn't exonerate him. It makes him look more guilty.
Yeah, it's really when I read that too, I see subtext too, and a lot of people do. Like, he thought this was like the smoking gun that's gonna be like, oh, see, I'll believe me. And then, the other thing is too, they said there's like taxi footage. Where's the taxi footage? that shows that he didn't do this stuff.
It's all have to be subpoenaed. It's going to be a whole. It's going to be tied up in the legal system for a year or longer.
Yeah,
I'm not going to see it for a long time. But that's, you release this text message, and like, what's the point? You're just trying to get people to, trying to get in the public eye, and they're like, oh,
exactly.
Yeah, be on your side.
Well,
and Marvel,
it echoes the Justin Roiland situation a little bit, though, doesn't it? Because he just recently got cleared of whatever felony domestic violence charges that he had, and yet still we're in a situation where Adult Swim totally cut ties with him. He lost all this stuff. So obviously, the discussions that we're having can happen a lot faster than our justice system can.
And let's be clear. Just because somebody was not charged for something in the legal system doesn't mean they were innocent.
Totally.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So even if the legal system fails and this man is exonerated for his domestic violence, like, it doesn't mean that he was innocent.
It doesn't mean that he did it though either. I mean, I'm not somebody to say, like, I don't think that cancel culture is a thing. At the same time, like, I do think that as a public, we want to have, like, I don't know, maybe some kind of standard of evidence. I have no way to go about it. You just can't decide these things as a community. Like, it needs to be decided by evidence, and it's not the kind of thing.
But he's putting this shit forth in order to influence the court of public opinion.
That is weird.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he thinks it will help, but, like, to me, 100%. It totally hurts.
Which seems like abuser mindset, does it not? Be like, oh, I've got this. This is the silver bullet. I'm
100%.
It kind of does. Yep. Well, Marvel right now they finally are apparently behind the scenes. They're talking about this. They've talked to his lawyer. They're throwing options out right now, how they're going to deal with it. They're not making any decision right now what they're going to do with him. Of course, they're going to let it play out. I mean, it's only been a few days. But I mean, like, the Army dropped his ads right away. So people are probably going to put pressure on him. I mean, he's got a huge career right now with Marvel. So there's a lot of issues right now with that.
Career period.
There's a lot of abusers who are serving the Army.
Like, why not? America, but I don't know.
It's consistent with their image, right?
Yeah, kind of is. But I don't know. It's like, this came out. I just want to talk about it a little bit. I know there's more information that will come out as it goes along. It's a very touchy subject, and it's like, honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards that. It sounds really shady to me. I don't know, but I'm not excited about it. Let me tell you that.